vamos a aprender de lo que han hecho bien otras personas que están cerca nuestro y vamos a comenzar hablando con nuestro primer caso de éxito. Así que seguidme, porque vamos a hablar del caso de éxito de Caixa Geral de Depósitos. Para hablarnos de ello está con nosotros José Uñón, que es el Senior Manager de Banca, VASS, quien nos va a contar más detalles al respecto. Así que bienvenido, José.
Muchas gracias,
Te
Elena.
toca a ti romper el hielo. Sé que estás súper preparado y que además tú nos vas a presentar después la ponencia que hemos preparado para este primer caso y que además va a ser en inglés. Adelante, José.
De acuerdo. Muchas gracias, Elena. Me quito esto ahora ya que ya mantenemos un poco de distancia social. Bienvenidos todos a esta primera sesión del evento. Como comentaba Elena, esta sesión se va a desarrollar en inglés porque nuestro invitado viene desde Portugal, así que permitidme que cambie a ese idioma para presentarle. I have the pleasure of hosting today Joaquim Nogueira. Joaquim is the Process Architecture and Performance Manager in Caixa Geral de Depósitos, which is the biggest bank in Portugal. So, good morning, Joaquim. How is everything today in our beautiful Lisboa?
Good morning, José. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a very sunny day, so everything is ready for this presentation. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Great to hear that. Joaquim is going to tell us about how Caixa Geral de Depósitos has been using Celonis in order to improve their processes. In fact, the business case, they have been using Celonis to work with the credit recovery process. Why is that? Because Celonis is a very nice and efficient tool that helps you find out what is really happening with your processes. We all have worked very hard in the past few years creating many processes with many different solutions, BPMs and other RPAs or technologies. What Celonis does is that it connects to all the systems or many systems in our infrastructure, and it helps us really find out what is happening, what is actually happening with the processes. It's not, we believe that probably the things are happening in the happy path, and many things that is not the case. And Celonis helps us find where our problems are and helps us solve them with time. We are going to start now with a very short video from Celonis, just about 1 minute, explaining the software, and then after that, Joaquim is going to give us an explanation on how Caixa Geral de Depósitos was using Celonis in their bank. So please go ahead with the video.
Inside your company is a better version of itself, trying to get out. It's an enormous opportunity, an opportunity to turn complexity into simplicity, broken processes into seamless experiences, friction into flow. This is the Superfluid enterprise, where the daily flow of data through your systems is used to better understand how your people work and how your customers interact with you in granular, forensic detail. This isn't just another dashboard. It's systematic, data-driven, organic business transformation that happens one process at a time to free your people to work in smarter ways, to turn data into insight, into action, and turn processes into extraordinary experiences for everyone. It's a new culture of work that keeps improving over time. The Superfluid enterprise doesn't just work better, it feels better to everyone. Inside your company is a better version of itself, trying to get out.
So, it's up to me now. First of all, I want to thanks again for the opportunity to be here. For doing this in English, because the better I could do would be Portuñol, so I think this will work. So I will be talking about how we at Caixa Geral de Depósitos managed to optimize the credit recovery process using Celonis. So my first slide will be about the challenges that we had in place that made us go this way. So Caixa Geral de Depósitos is a commercial bank like any other in Portugal, but it's the biggest Portuguese bank, and the only detail that it has is that the only shareholder is the state. So it's a state-owned bank. And for this, we have been forced by the European Central Bank and, of course, by our government to downsize and optimize our structure. So the first challenge that we have is to be more cost and cash efficient. And for this, and talking about this very specific process, we need to recover as much money as possible with the resources and the people that we have available. So trying to do more with less people and less resources. Then we had some goals that were specific of the process. And we are talking about things like priority and risk. So if you picture that a customer stops paying its credit for some reason and this money has to be recovered, there's a recovery manager that will have to know which customers to manage first. This customer manager may have a portfolio of, let's say, 500 customers, but who is the one that needs help first? And for this, we are using the tool to help them to decide. Another thing is speed and compliance. So how do they know how to resolve the cases as quickly as possible and within the service level agreement? So they have 60 days to recover a customer and they need to be very aware of the time they still have to do it. Another thing is quality. So what will be the best way to recover each customer? What is the solution, the right solution for each customer? Because every customer is a single case, every customer needs a different type of help. And what this does is make sure that they know what they have to do on each and specific case. And finally, flexibility. So we know that we are all living a very complex time and context, and we need to adapt. And the tool allows us to adapt the process to what is happening in the world today. And I'm talking specifically about COVID-19. And we had to do some things on the process to adapt it to this new reality. So in the next slide, I will give you some notion on the solution that we implemented. As I told you before, this was very oriented to the credit recovery department and to the credit recovery managers. So the end users that are actually facing the customer and trying to recover the due money. So what we need to give them was first a context. So give them something where they could look and understand if they are reaching the SLA and if they are running out of time. So we gave them a cockpit where they can understand who their customers are, how much time do they have to recover those customers, and to have a clear identification on how many customers do I have in my portfolio and how much amount do I have to recover. We also managed to use Celonis to give them links so that they can act on the systems where they treat the customer. So Celonis isn't the place where they actually do things, but it's a point that directs them to the place where they do the things, to the system where they have to execute their actions. And of course, we also needed to give them all the actions that they need to execute, but highlight those that are more important at a specific time. This was the first item, give them context. The second one is give them directions. So if something is not working like it should, then those customer managers are notified. If the SLA is reaching the end of the time, then they get a notification 5 days before saying, okay, don't forget that you have this to do with that customer, and here's a notification for you. Or if they have new customers arriving to their portfolio, they are also notified on this. And of course, these notifications are not only for the customer managers that are recovering the credit, but also for their coordinators. So if they are not doing what they should within the time that they have to do it, then the coordinator is also notified so that they can help the manager and direct them on the right track. So let me talk to you on the next slide about the results that we have reached with this tool and with this implementation. And there are four. There are three that are more direct and understandable, which is speed, efficiency, and accuracy. And in terms of speed, we are talking about cases started being resolved within the time limit they had, because before some of them were going over the limit. So now we have an average time that allows us to say, okay, customers are being recovered within the 60 days that we have to recover them. Because if we let more than 60 days pass and go up to 90 days, then this amount that is not paid by our customers will reflect on the accountancy of the bank and on the results of the bank. So, and the European Central Bank is very aware of this. So we have this time limit, this time frame to recover the customers, and we need to make sure that this happens on the right time. So we are doing the recovery with more speed. The other thing is efficiency. And I'm talking about the actual manual work that the customer recovery managers have to prepare the process, to get to know the customer. So if the customer stops paying, I need to understand why did he stop paying? What is happening? How can I help the customer to recover the money and to resume the payments of their credit? So there's a lot of manual work here, and we have just helped them to collect the information and try to give them that information so that they don't have this huge amount of manual work. So they are more efficient, and this, of course, reflects on speed. And finally, accuracy. So the source system data gives lots of information, but because of this information needs to be gathered, like I explained before, we are now give them exactly what they need and not data that they don't need. So for us, it's very important that they know exactly what to do at a specific time and don't have to get their mind occupied with something else. So they need to be accurate and very precise. And finally, the fourth result has to do with compliance and transparency. So this means that the European Central Bank and the Banco de Portugal, they are very on top of every bank in Europe, making sure that they have transparent processes and that every bank is compliant with the rules, namely the risk and the credit risk rules. So for this process and this technology also allows us to understand exactly what is happening on the process and making it more transparent because of this. So finally, in the last slide, let me explain a bit more in practice what we have done. So we had three things that we needed to solve. First, get an overall perspective of the process. And if you see on the left side of the screen, on the top, you have what seems to be the continents of the world. But in fact, that information is just the result of the white lines that we see on that picture. And those white lines are no more than routes, ship routes across the oceans. So what we have been here doing was try to figure out where have we been navigating for the past year. And this is what the process mining tools gives us. So where did the processes, all of the processes to recover the customers of the whole bank, what happened to each one of them and how can we picture this on a whole image. And this is what the process mining tool does, and you can see on the right part of the screen. So we get a process overview of everything that has happened. The second thing was we needed to give a cockpit, a navigation tool for the credit recovery managers. And this is just a screen. On the left, you have an actual cockpit on a ship, and on the right, you have the cockpit with Salonius, which basically gives for each customer manager the overall view of the SLAs that he needs to fulfill, the number and the actual customers that he needs to treat and recover. And with this, we gave them the context and the perspective of what they have to do, like in a ship that is being driven by the captain. But of course, even when they know that or they feel that they are going the right way, sometimes something happens and they need to be notified. They need to be alerted. And this is where the other module of Salonis, which is the action engine, steps in. So they get actual notifications by mail that are determined by rules with the action engine with Salonis. And with these three tools, the process overview, the recovery cockpit, and the action notifications, we have managed to improve the process, and we have managed to make the work a lot easier for the credit recovery managers. And I didn't say this before, but we achieved all of this since the data gathering until making this tool available for the end users. We did this in 3 months, since we got Salonis into CGD until the moment we made this available for the end users. And so this is what I had for you. Thank you very much. I hope you can get the most of what I've said today. And of course, we will be available with the contacts in LinkedIn if you want to find something else on this. So thank you very much and have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Joaquim, for your great presentation. I think this technology is really breaking the barrier now in here in Spain, and I'm sure that most of our customers would love to know more about it.